Welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about how to win your DUI case. And today we have with us Mr. Larry Forman. He has experienced all aspects of litigation from working with judges, prosecutors, and criminal defense attorneys throughout his career. He is recognized by super lawyers as a rising star 5 years in a row, ranked number one DUI lawyer on Google and client reviews, and named Louisville Magazine top lawyer in his field. Mr. Foreman has been practicing almost exclusively in the area of DUI law since he started his practice. He also runs a very active YouTube channel called the DUI Guy. Let's welcome Mr. Larry Foreman to the show.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good man. So, how ask us a good question because a lot of times, this is pretty clearly, I guess, a criminal matter. So, you would be considered a criminal defense attorney. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if that's the case, are all DUIs created equal? Are there federal DUIs, misdemeanors? How does that work?
Well, no, not all DUIs are created equal in many senses of the word. Like you just mentioned, if you're charged with a DUI on federal property,
Oh,
so for instance, like a military base or a national park, you're going to be charged in a federal court. You're not going to be charged in state court. So you will be charged. It's usually the same offense. You're still charged with like the statutory state crime because there's no federal statute for DUI, at least as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. I've never seen it at least. But yeah, most DUIs are, if not on federal property, they're of course going to be on state side. Each state has their own laws. Some are more lax, some are more stringent. I'm practicing Kentucky almost exclusively. We do some Indiana work, but they're pretty much almost exactly the same. And when it comes to DUI laws, there's some key differences, but they at the end of the day, unless you are a DUI practitioner, they don't really matter to you. Um, but on yeah, there of course you could have some states have felony DUIs, some states have wet recklesses, which is a variation on the theme. It's kind of like not as bad as a DUI, but it's still
mhm.
more than just a reckless driving charge. Um, and of course, if you hit somebody, that is usually going to be a more aggravated DUI, or if you blow over a certain limit, that's going to be a more aggravated DUI in many states, including Kentucky, Indiana, California, etc. And then some states like South Carolina like to attach a felony charge to pretty much every DUI. They try to turn it into a murder, if especially if you hit somebody and
Right.
killed somebody, or if you just hit somebody and didn't kill them, they always like to slap on, I heard, an attempted murder charge.
Oh, oh,
So yeah, they turn it into a felony very quickly, and it becomes very ugly. But to an experienced DUI practitioner, they should make short work of something like that, because when they start stacking the decks so much, it's either a lack of experience, a lack of understanding, or just you know throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, and that's never a smart idea as a prosecutor. So but unfortunately, I'm sure that they get a lot of deals from a lot of practitioners who don't know what they're doing, and that's really the goal, is the catch-all net. So we're familiar with it, the ones in the DUI world, and we try to combat it as much as possible.
oh, wow. So when one really thinks of a DUI, for the most case, they always think about driving under the influence, maybe alcohol. Is what is covered under the DUI statute, if you will? Is it just alcohol or other substance?
Alcohol and all substances that may impair driving ability, meaning both illicit and non-illicit, like legal drugs. In theory, you could be charged for driving under the influence of aspirin if aspirin is something that um, gives you a feeling of elation or a high, I guess. I mean, it would
Okay.
be very difficult to prove, because unless you've exhibited, and even if you exhibited clues, I mean, again, they can charge you with anything under the sun. I think
Right.
there was a very famous case in out west. Maybe it was California. There are a lot of weird stuff comes out of California.
Yes, it
Um,
does.
one of the things was the individual was charged with operating a motor vehicle under the influence. They did a blood test, and the only thing that came back positive was caffeine.
Okay, that's
And of course,
normal.
the prosecutor was like, "Well, um, Well, the test just didn't work properly. So the whatever that was in their system actually didn't come through or whatever. That's their excuse. I call BS. That's not how it happened. You arrested the wrong person. Maybe he was a little jittery, from having a couple of cups of coffee. But the problem is a lot of people get caught in that dragnet of DUIs where they don't belong.
Oh
And this
wow.
is where I come in.
Oh wow. That now that I never heard of. I think that's a little far fetched thinking about it, but it actually happened, so it's not far fetched. It actually literally happened. Does this thing kind of happen often that they try to that it's like it's so outrageous that they still try to charge someone with a DUI, or they just drop the charges?
No, they'll never just drop the charges. They will fight tooth and nails, usually, not always. I mean, if they see something, and those cases, the ones you're probably referring to, are very rare. They don't often happen. But I'll give you a prime example where it does happen, and kind of on a regular basis. People sleeping in their cars with the car turned off in the driver's seat. That happens a lot, and especially during the wintertime when people are, they go to the bar, they're like, you know what, I'm probably a little too smashed to get behind the wheel, so let me just take a nap here for a few hours and then wake up and go and drive. But they leave the engine on because it's cold, so they put the key in the ignition,
Hmm.
turn the engine on, stay warm, and then what happens? A couple hours go by, there's a knock on the
Yeah.
window, and let me tell you, I get so many of those cases. It's almost embarrassing because in some states, by the way, some states you will lose. New York, Pennsylvania, a couple others I can't remember right now off the top of my head. You got the keys, you got control. You're gonna lose 100%.
Well,
Kentucky's
even
not
if you're
like
not
that.
operating the vehicle, it would is the ignition turned on is kind of considered operating the vehicle at that point in those states. Is that's why you're still charged?
Exactly. The nomenclature is physical control. Those are the two magic words. And they say you got the keys, you got physical control, you got operation, you got driving. Essentially, that's all
Wow.
it is. Even though you weren't driving, you have operation, you have physical control, which are equivalent or a same the same tree, if you will, of operation of driving. I mean, and it's really sad. Kentucky, thank God, is not like that. But prosecutors will still charge you, police officers will still arrest you on the off chance that the defense attorney will just cop a deal and call it a day,
Wow. That's dang that now that's
or that
far
they won't
fetched.
hire a lawyer in the first place. Sorry, or like plea on
Right.
their own if they can't
Um.
afford one.
Right. So a lot of those cases kind of normally happens like that because you're trying to retain a DUI attorney or someone that specialized in that criminal defense field. Most people don't have the resources, if you will, to kind of retain those individuals. So they kind of plea out. Is that what we're kind of yeah.
Very common. Yeah,
Okay. What made you
sadly.
decide? Yeah. What made you decide to get into the actual specialty of just really just practicing DUI cases?
Um, well, I won't get into the long version of the story, but the short version is it's it's one of those very like DUIs. Let me put it to you this way: DUIs are more difficult to defend than a murder charge.
Wow. Really?
Yes, and here's why. Now, I'm not saying the consequences are way more severe in a murder case,
Yes.
but in a murder case, what do you have? You have the murder weapon. You have you have physical evidence, you have forensic evidence, you may have testimonial evidence, people speaking, witnesses and so on. You may have video. I mean, very rarely, but it
Right.
exists. So you obviously have an expert, maybe a blood splatter expert if it's a gunshot, maybe a knife wound expert if it's a stabbing, um, but a lot of forensics, a lot of physical stuff, and that's it. That really is from start to finish. That's a whole murder case, which I don't do, by the way.
Right.
But that's the whole murder case. In a DUI case, you're dealing with chemistry to understand the functionality of the machine. You're dealing with human physiology. A temperature, having a temperature of the body, degree plus, degree minus, is going to affect the result of the breathalyzer, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Um, your lung capacity, your ability to, if you're asthmatic, if you have asthma, it's going to affect it. So physiology, chemistry, biology, because everybody's different, men and women, alcohol affects them differently. We absorb alcohol differently. The fatty tissues, the water to alcohol ratio in your body, all those things come into effect. And it is insane when you really get into it, how much actually goes into litigating a DUI case. It's not just cut and dry. It involves so many different sciences and so many different uh, fields of study to be able to do it properly. And that's where people get hung up. They're like, they don't want to get into that stuff. They don't want to understand all of it. And they just think that they can do them, and they really can't. Unless you truly, and I'm not by any sense of the imagination, am I saying that I'm an expert in all of those fields of study, but I am familiar enough in a little bit in every single one, and I'm getting better and better every day to be able to assess a DUI case better than anybody else, because they're so difficult, because they're so complex. There's so many facets that go into understanding a DUI case. That's what most people don't take into account.
Right. That's absolutely. And so, with that said, we know all these things that happen in DUIs. What do someone do when they first charged with a DUI? What's the first thing they should do?
Call me.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, so I know a lot of people like, oh, well, we can plea out or whatever, but what are the benefits of hiring a great attorney or even a good attorney that literally specializes in DUI cases only?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Can you rephrase?
So, what are the benefits of someone hiring a DUI attorney and not or just representing themselves? Like, what is the benefits of hiring a
Oh,
DUI attorney?
oh goodness. Limitless, literally limitless. When you go in there by yourself, you have no idea what's going on. I mean, first of all, lawyer in and of themselves, I mean, even, I'm sorry to say, but the bottom of the barrel attorney, even they are better than having no attorney. I mean, sometimes they're not going to get you very far, but even still, they're familiar with the system. They're familiar with the prosecutor. They're familiar with the judge. They know how the system works. They may play golf with the judge. You never know. So they're already going there. You're going in blind. If you're going in by yourself, that is the dumbest possible. You've heard the old joke, he who represents himself has a fool for a client. That literally applies to every single
You're right.
person who goes into the courtroom to litigate their own case without having a law degree. It's even worse. Lawyers don't represent themselves. When
Right.
lawyers get charged with things, we hire other lawyers to represent us. God forbid, if you're ever in the situation where you need one. We never, it's a bad idea. Stacking on top the unfamiliarity of you not knowing what's going on, not being familiar with the system, stack on top of that the fact that the judge, excuse me, both the judge and the prosecutor have absolutely zero of your own personal interest in mind.
Right.
Do you remember those? What was that commercial of the college? Was it Phoenix University? Those online colleges. You're not just a number to us. Do you remember those
Right.
commercials?
Yes. Yeah. Those are old commercials.
Old commercials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly what you are to the system. You're just a number. You're a bag of money. And they'll give you a deal. They'll just say, look, here, sign here on the dotted line, just so we can get to the next person, because look at this docket that we have. That's all they care about. Judges care about their dockets. Prosecutors care about their numbers to get as many guilty pleas as they possibly can, and to get their dockets also moving, and get people out of that courtroom. So they have absolutely zero of your own personal interest in mind. The only person who cares about your case is you and your lawyer, if you have one.
Wow. Well, so the debts really are stacked up against you when you do go into that courtroom. So how did you get started in your journey to becoming like the number one DUI lawyer? How did that happen? How did you create that platform to get you to that place?
That's an interesting question. I was just being me. I mean, I don't know how
Right.
else to. Yeah, I just started building and building, and I care about my clients. I really care. I take every case as if it's my own. I think, like, what would I want? And when a prosecutor gives me a deal, I always think, can I get better? See, most people just stop there, like, wow, this is a good deal, and they'll take it. I always get the deal, and I think, can I get better? Can I push them further? Can I
Right.
get the, like, and I found out I'm in a minority. I don't know why that is. It's just the way my body operates, my brain operates, and I try to get the absolute best possible result. It's on my website. Our mission will get you the best possible result in the quickest possible manner. And those, I think there's another line. It's been a few years since I wrote it, so sorry, I can't remember
No
off the
worries.
top of my head.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and that's basically what we do. We especially when I go to trial. When I go to trial, I almost feel like it's me in the hot seat. It's just the way my brain functions. I can't control it.
So you're pretty much giving your clients the service that you would give yourself if you had to represent yourself, if you would.
Yeah,
Like you're
and
really
a
just
lot of
putting yourself out
clients,
there.
yeah, and a lot of clients will even ask me, like, I had one just the other day. He said, well, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Because we had the option going to trial or taking a plea. And I get that question more often than I would think. And the latest one, he asked me point blank, like, do do you think I should take the plea or go to trial? And I said, listen, buddy, if you were in my shoes, and I said, listen, buddy, I don't think I can win your case. Honestly, I'm happy to try it for you. I don't think your chances are very good. You have pretty bad facts. And he said, you know what? I trust you. I'll take the plea.
Right. Well, that's good advice from a great attorney. And now you have literally built up this big YouTube channel with nearly about 40,000 subscribers. And people have subscribed to your channel. And
I'm
it's
at 52,000
oh
now,
oh
actually.
now we have oh
Yeah.
wow, so it's 10,000 more. How did you grow that community so fast? And like how was your outreach and on doing that?
Um, so I started the channel in October 2014. I posted a video or two and kind of let it sit. I never really imagined that it would grow to the lengths that it did to now. And what I did was, for about 6 years, no, 6 years, 4 years, for about 4 years, it was kind of dormant, almost to the day, actually. October 2018, it slowly started gaining more and more traction. But I only had like 6 videos on it for 4 years. And then in December 2018, something magical happened. Uh, People just started flocking to my channel by the dozens at the time.
Mhm.
And I had like maybe, I don't know, 400, 600, 800 subscribers, which I didn't even know where they came from. Like I had no real content to offer, but I had a couple cool videos. And those two couple cool videos, so my channel goes in ebb and flow, and I don't know if it's going to be consistent or not, but holidays like July, 4th of July, Independence Day, October, Halloween, New
Mhm.
Year's, right now the numbers are skyrocketing. I checked it the other day. I'm getting double, triple, quadruple the numbers I usually get. And then March, Mardi Gras. So about 4 times a year, my numbers spike, and then they just kind of stagnate. But what's interesting is that what I've noticed is that they never go back to like their original. They always like are a little higher from what they were before, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's the growth factor, I suppose, if you include that in the calculation. So in October, November, December 2018, it started spiking. And then in January, I said to myself, you know what? Let's give the people what they want. And I started creating more content. I videoed myself. I started digging through I've been practicing for 5 years at that point. So I had content built up. So I just started fishing for all of it, getting the videos. We're very, very lucky here in Kentucky that we have those courtroom proceedings recorded, because
Oh
I
wow.
found out that very, very, very few states actually record their stuff.
Yes.
Um, they have court reporters. You're familiar.
Yes.
In Florida, I think you guys have court reporters. You don't
Yes, we
have
do.
video.
Yes, we have. We still have court reporters,
Yeah,
even in,
and
even in
I
family
don't understand.
court, even if especially in family court though. But yeah,
Really?
yeah. So in
Yeah.
family court, no video at all. And the report, and most likely, if it's literally a actual trial, you're going to be in a room with just the reporter, the magistrate, your attorney, and their attorney. That's it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, unless you
Yeah.
ask for clearly if you ask for a jury trial, that changes the outcome. But for the most part, that's who's going to be in that room. They keep family court very private, if you will.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kentucky, I mean, certain aspects, we keep it like that, like in mediation, in depositions, of course, those are all, but you can ask for a video recording, that's a whole separate issue, but that's not open court litigation aspect. So like suppression hearings, probable cause hearings, trials, jury trials, both bench trials. those are all recorded. They're in the courtroom, and you have cameras in every angle capturing the entire proceeding. So that's nice. So I started gathering all of that and posting it, creating titles, blah blah blah, whatever. And for about a year, it kind of stagnated. And then I hired, of course, nobody knew Corona was coming for the most
Right.
part. In that group, I was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And because January, February were my two most profitable months. Like March was supposed to be my number one most profitable month in my career. Again, the growth factor and all that. And just unfortunately, it was still pretty good. But then, April and May went to crap. But
Right.
regardless,
Corona. Yeah.
that's the practice side of things. But just like every other small business in the country. But my YouTube channel did the complete opposite. So before even knowing, I had 13,000 subscribers in January this year.
Of this year.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I uploaded a few videos. Actually, well, I wouldn't say quite a few, but enough. And I hired someone from this website called Upwork.
Mhm.
If you're familiar, it's where
Yeah.
you find freelancers.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like Fiverr with Fiverr.
Mhm.
Those you kind of hire for like a short project, but if you want a freelancer to be like on your payroll or just a contractor or whatever doing contract work, um, that's where I found
Mhm.
mine, and she was fantastic. I mean, she started redoing my entire channel, like working on each video, stuff that I didn't know how to do. I mean, she markets herself as a YouTube. I call her my YouTube wizard.
Right.
So she got to work on that, and in March, basically right when the pandemic hit, I think it just so happened that it coincided. More people were sitting at home and watching, but on top of that, she kind of restructured my entire channel. That I went from zero to hero like overnight. Like at the end of March, beginning of April, my numbers just went off the charts. At least by my standards, compared to what I was getting. And yeah, I mean, you can see I've racked up just under 40,000 subs in like 10 months.
Wow.
So that's all
That's
thanks.
amazing.
Thanks. It's all thanks to her. And I mean, and the content, of course. Like, yeah, I can never discount the content. People don't really care listening to me speak. I mean, I do have my devoted group of fans, don't get me wrong, and I love them to pieces, and they love listening to me talk, but they're a small fraction. I mean, I've seen some of these content creators on YouTube and Twitch who have like 80,000, simultaneous viewers on like one sitting. That's insane. I mean, that is complete
Yeah.
insanity. So cool to watch. I'm nowhere near that. I mean, I will get the most I've ever gotten was like just under 450, and that was on a topic that everybody loves. Whether you should talk to the police on a topic that people are ambivalent about. I'll get like 100, 150, 200, maybe 300 max, simultaneous at this juncture. But I'm okay with that. I'm not
Mhm.
shooting for the moon. I'm just doing this for the people. They love listening to me, and God bless them. But yeah, and it's just been slowly and surely growing. Like I said, I have that small fan base, and then the subscribers who are the majority of the people. The number 6 most popular videos that I have, which I think they all have over 1 million views right now. They're all courtroom work. They're all
Okay.
like me cross-examining a police. That's their favorite, cross-examination of a cop.
Oh, okay. So that's the one that you feel that everyone wants to listen to or hear or have more interest
Yeah,
in. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. And it is way more fun than listening to this schmuck talk, and it's way more fun to watch.
Absolutely. So, my final question to you, alluding to should you talk to the police? So, should a citizen submit a breathalyzer on spot or not?
Absolutely not. You
Okay.
in 38 states, always refuse. Choose to refuse. That's my mantra. Kentucky is one of them. In 12 states, it's either 12 or 13. I can't remember. Refusing is actually a crime. Nebraska being one of them. I know that for certain because my good buddy Bell Island, who practices over there, Bell said never refuse. Do not refuse if you're in Nebraska. Like we'll have better chances because if you refuse in Nebraska, for instance, and 12, 11 other states, you will, even if you beat the DUI, you will still be convicted of a crime for refusing the breath test, because
Yeah.
contesting the refusal is just, you either said yes or you said no. I mean, there is no middle ground. Very
Right.
rarely are you able to win those. So choose to refuse, and refuse the field sobriety test. Now that we're on the topic, refuse the field sobriety test as
Okay.
well. There is absolutely zero consequence other than you getting arrested
Yeah.
for yeah, but you're getting arrested anyway. If the cop already has made up his mind to arrest
Right.
you, it doesn't matter whether you do or don't field sobriety test. They will lie. They will lie on the stand. Like, have you ever conducted field sobriety test and let someone go? And they'll say, oh yeah, like maybe 50%. It's closer to 1% of people that they will actually release after they conduct field sobriety tests, because they have no reason to. You've just given them free evidence. Why wouldn't they take you to the station and potentially get a guilty plea? Your money. You're a bag of money to them. That's all you are.
Right. Exactly. That part. Tell us more about how we can find you and how we can look you up. Your YouTube channels, any Facebook or Twitter or anything that you have on social media.
Yeah, I have all of those. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. What else do I have? YouTube, of course. I don't have a Twitch yet. I don't know if I ever will. Twitch is more like of a gamers and music creators type platform. But yeah, it's just the DUI guy, pretty much universally on all of those platforms in various variations. If you go to my website, LarryFormanLaw.com, LARRY, F as in Frank, ORMAN, M as in Mary, AN as in Nancy, LAW, LarryFormanLaw.com. You will find all the links. Oh, and LinkedIn, of course. I have a LinkedIn as well. You will find the links to all of those social media on the bottom right, so you'll be able to access those. Or at this point, I think it's I'll tell you this just real quick. I went to Acapulco a couple of
Mhm.
months ago. I was in Mexico, in Acapulco, and we just met some of the locals there, and we were hanging out, shooting it, and eventually came to the topic, like, what do you do, who you are? And I just said, I don't know, I'm curious, like, Google the DUI guy, in Acapulco. You got the local connection and everything. And I popped up, like I was in the top three, I think, or something, in Acapulco, frickin' Mexico.
Oh,
So
wow.
at this point, I'm just like, if you just Google the DUI guy, you'll find me. I mean, you can't miss me.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Larry Foreman, for joining us today. Continue to enjoy your vacation. Happy holidays to you and your family. And you guys join us next time on the Blueprint.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandy. Thanks so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for inviting me. Happy holidays.
Likewise.